could have just super there.
Yeah.
Oh! Go
Will
on.
he do it again? Will he do it again?
Oh,
no!
Oh! We are
And he just stands up. I don't even know what happened too.
Okay, we already know what they
Damn.
The revolution has begun.
Well, hello again and welcome. I have a Marvel player with me, New Zealand's own consistent, Wes. What's up, bro?
Good, man. How are you?
Doing good, man. Obviously rocking the Tengaboiz attire like you.
Yep.
Always on, never off.
Always on, never
man.
off.
So give us the usual, tell us about yourself and your history in the FGC.
So, just as Jax has just mentioned, my name is Consistent. Or if you know my government name, Wes. So I've been part of the NZFGC for the last 5 years. Probably the first event I turned up to was in 2016. I think that was the year that Street Fighter 5 came out. So just been hanging around throughout the years. Probably in the last year or so. Haven't really been too focused on, I guess, the competitive aspect. Just more so just enjoying the events as they come along. Now I'm being I'm taking this sort of thing that was meant to be really small. It ended up being a lot bigger than we expected as well. Over the course of this year. But really just just really just going along for the ride. I'm just seeing where everything takes us. But man, what a journey it's been so far. I know everyone has their own stories to tell. Especially in the NZFGC, it's such an amazing bunch of people. A lot of friends. I see his family as well. But yeah, it's cool, man. Thanks for extending the invite.
Pleasure.
Having me on. But yeah, it'll be cool. Just I guess dive a little bit deeper into myself. For people that don't really know me too well, and maybe some new things that you might find out about me today as well.
So like the early stages when you entered the FGC, was it just I'm just gonna try it out? You enjoyed it because you said you weren't really that competitive. So what triggered that in you?
So if you guys know some other Tengaboiz, so there's yours truly, Reef, Raiden, Michael, and Godspeed T. So we all went to school together. So I've known Michael and T since for 20 years now. I've known Reef since 2009. So we've been together for quite a long time. And during the college days. It wasn't so much for T and Michael playing fighting games, but fighting games was something that me and Reef did almost every night. So before we joined the NZFGC, it would just be me and Reef just playing online. Back on the days where we only had ADSL and Wi-Fi, playing trying to dive into as many fighting games as we could. And that's where the only competition we had was each other. We sort of had some friends that went around the arcade scene. One of our friends, Civilu, better known as Game Freak. Some of the Tekken arcade players might know him. I know he was very close with Connor. We've tried to bring him out to events as well. We think he's like our hidden weapon for Tekken. So it was mainly us. So what we used to do is we used to go over to Reef's place every weekend. Also just to play offlines. And it was really just for us, it was just a time for us just hang around. We weren't being little shits, going around on the streets. We decided just stay at home and play fighting games instead. But yeah, it was just one of those things. We took it as a hobby. We knew of the competitive scene. Not so much in New Zealand, but we would tune in. We would watch every major. We would boot up all of the YouTube highlights. One thing that's I know it's kind of hit and miss for a lot of the community, but Maximilian, that was one way that helped us transition into that side of fighting games as well. But I think it was really when Street Fighter 5 was coming out. I started to think about it a lot more. I was I'm sure there's a scene here in New Zealand, that we could try our luck at. Which was kind of funny because around the time when Mortal Kombat X was out, one of our friends, his brother was mentioning to us that there was Southern Cross-Up was coming up, I think it was in 2015, so it was the year before I actually came to my first one. Yeah, he mentioned to us like, oh, you know, there's a tournament coming up called Southern Crossover. I think you and Reef could like, you know, you could really do something, eh? Like if you guys win. So you know, me and Reef were just kind of like, nah, it's like this isn't for us, eh? Like, yeah, we'll like go in your body. Like we used to play online and stuff as well. We're like, nah, yeah, we could probably do this, eh? We're decent enough. Like there's like we could probably like go 1 and 2
Yeah.
maybe. But I think it was really just that, you know, like it took one of us to sort of like take that leap, and I mean, it just happened to be me. I always remember it because it was I think the week before Street Fighter 5 came out. And what used to make me laugh as well is just like how everything sort of comes together, and that's kind of been like sort of my journey in the NZFGC is just the way like how small of a world it is.
Yeah.
You know, because you know we would play online a lot. You know, you'd run into a lot of our like regular players in the scene. You know, you add them like you play some more sets after you're running into them rank. You're like, hey man, you're pretty good, eh? I was like, you get some more games. And you know, and that person for me was Uncle Danny.
Oh, God bless
So
him.
yeah, so in the Mortal Kombat X days, I think when like in the first week, I ran into him in the lobby, and like we played a long set, and then we added each other on PSN, and then I think it was like the week before Street Fighter 5 came out, and I saw D Silver was playing Street Fighter 5, and I was like, whoa, what the? And I was like, and I messaged him, I was like, hey, I was like, how did you get the game? I was like, and he was like, oh, yeah, I can't mention anything. I can't tell you, just ignore it. And I was like, okay. I was like, okay, that's cool. And I got a bit curious, eh? So I was just like, yeah, in my head, I was like, okay, that must mean like he's a really good player, in the country. So I got curious, and I like jumped on YouTube and I looked up D Silver, and I was like, whoa, there's like all of these like videos of like of Danny playing, and then I found the StandingFierce videos, and I found like all the old Southern Cross Up and like all the different majors and stuff, and I started watching it, and I was like, oh shucks, there's like a scene here, and then I found the link to the Twitter, and I remember I made a Twitter account like back in college, like in like 2010 or so, like just cause like there was like a phase where like some people at our school were like just doing Twitter accounts, and then like I opened up the StandingFierce Twitter, and then I saw the King of the Woods. So that Street Fighter little bracket that used to be running Nick of the Woods being advertised, and then I was like, okay, fuck. And I was just like, fuck it, like I'm gonna put my name down there. I want to try my luck. And then from there, it was like, you know, never really looked back. But I just always looked back, and I was just like, wow, like everything was sort of there. You know, hearing about StandingFierce, hearing about Southern Cross Up through some, you know, like through some of our connections on our network, and then you know, having like one of our friends through college, you know, he's already like playing around in the arcade scene, and you know, meeting people online and stuff like that. And yeah, just after I took that leap, I just got addicted.
Yeah.
Kept coming back, you know. I was like, man, it's like so cool. Like, you know, there's like other people like just like us. You know, like I met pretty much majority of the people I know like today. That's just at that Nick of the Woods event, and yeah, it was cool. And yeah, that's pretty much I guess my first exposures to the scene, and then I guess my mission from there was just like bringing the rest of the boys in, because I was like, nah man, I was like, you know, you think I'm alright, then you know you should meet Reef, you should meet Michael, you should meet the rest of the boys, eh? But yeah, that was it's weird looking back.
Yeah, I know.
Because it was like 4 or 5 years back, and like for me now it's so normal.
Yeah,
but
I know a lot of us probably undervalue the importance of StandingFierce. How many players are just here because of that group of those dudes, eh? Yeah. What about Dave? Can you remember your first interaction with him? Was it online or in person?
I was in person. Because I remember I got to you know, I signed up by myself for that King of the Woods, but you know, like being like shy guy, I was just like, I told the boys, I was like, can you guys come with me? He was like, I don't really want to go by myself, eh? But yeah, I remember meeting Dave, and like you know, like I think you know, like Dave is hilarious.
Yeah.
Eh? Like when you see the side of him that isn't like when he's you know, I guess switches off that TO side of him, he just gets to be himself. He's hilarious. But you know, when he switches it on, you know, and he's running events, you know, making sure that like new players are like you know, feeling like really comfortable. I guess because you know, like we've all been there. You know, we all know what it's like to be the new person. And I like, you know, when I first joined, you know, Dave like, you know, really went out of his way to make you feel comfortable. You know, he's just like, hey, you grab something from the bar. You know, with some specials like running on with food and drink. Just breaking down how everything was, how everything worked really. And it was the same for the rest of the StandingFierce team that was there as well. I mean, it just really like doing their best to sort of make me feel comfortable. It was really good to like put a lot of names to the faces as well. That's always the best thing, and I think that's one of the greatest things about our community, and in particular, just that whole real family vibe. And I guess it's because we all come from that similar background. The way we've all been raised here, for majority of us here in New Zealand, it's just like it's just one of the boys, really,
exactly.
And by that, I mean, just as a term, but it really is just like you're just catching up with like really good friends.
Yeah, for me,
And that's how it felt like.
for me, I just love it because they don't take themselves too seriously. Like when push comes to shove, they can do their shit, but then, as you said, it's just like you're hanging with one of the boys. There's no chip on their shoulders, and none of them have it.
Mm. And it's like at the end of the day, that's when you can tell like the real difference between like how I guess StandingFierce events are run, and then you really do see the passion behind it. And that's not to say that there isn't passion in everything else that's run around, in terms of like competitive gaming, but you just really see that this is a team that putting all of these events on just for the love of the game. And it's just real cool to like know that there's people around your community, around the country, that share that same sort of passion. It just makes it it makes the game so much. Like I know at the end of the day, it's like it's just a game, but at the same time, it's like this is like a gateway to like meet new people, make some friends for life. If some people are lucky enough to like find a partner, as well.
Yeah.
In the community, so it's real cool. It really is just more than a game at the end of the day.
It's all the stuff that exists outside it that's real and true. Brotherhood, family, just honest, good people. Yeah.
Yep.
What about the year, bro? Have you been happy with the year? I mean, with the stuff that's happened, like the year's been good for you?
Yeah. So in terms of I guess like outside of NZFGC, it turned itself around. One of the things, I guess, one of the highlights of the year was getting promotion at work into like a leadership sort of role. So that was a real good win, especially because I had so much lined up. I wanted to go back to Chicago for Combo Breaker Round 2, which was like a lot of us.
Yeah.
We were like we had like a really good NZ team to go over. So I guess like after COVID struck, it really was just kind of just trying to salvage the year. So I guess from like a work standpoint, it was real cool. But I guess if we're going back to NZFGC, related things, the year started off really well. That was like our first sort of like proper event, going out as TB. Down at the Needham for Sub-Zero Scuffle. Shout outs to the Needham team down there as well. That was a really fun event. And like the one thing with since coming to events as well is it's given me a chance to go around the country. Like I've never been to Wellington until I went to Crush Counter. I never went to Christchurch until like going down for like Garden of Might and such. And then same thing for the Needham. Like haven't been to the Needham until like Sub-Zero Scuffle. That's like that was a good chance to sort of like just start the year. I remember boarding that flight, and then we saw the news article about like the first case at the Tool concert, and we were just like fuck, and like we were just like, nah, maybe when we come back, it's gonna be fine, it's gonna die down, and and then next thing you know, like a week later, we're all getting sent home from the office to work from home, and then after that, it's like I can barely remember March till whenever the first lockdown. But that was a really good event. I started off the year, winning grid.
Yeah.
So that was a real cool thing. And got my first top 3 in the Street Fighter in the major. I know a lot of people. I know a lot of the players weren't there, but you can't take that 3rd place away from me. Then Marvel as well. Just another good time to really play some games. But it was a really good year. Start to the year. Seeing some faces again. Especially some of the Christchurch, like seeing the Christchurch team as well. After like moving into that next phase of their lives with becoming dads. So it was really cool to see them. And it was just like we had a really good hit out for the team. Like we're cool. We laid out our road plan. We're like, cool, war is our next the next event. This will be the nice tune up for Chicago, and then everything just went down the drain. And then it was kind of like we just kind of just tried to figure out how we can sort of save the year. Shout outs to Vala. He really this whole I guess we'll dive into it a little deeper later on about Tengaboiz, but I think the one thing that sort of got us through this year is like we had this thing that started off as a joke, just an inside joke between us. We just rocked up in balaclavas as someone crossed up last year. Everyone's like, bro, what are these guys up to? And then it's sort of just like it became I guess something a lot more, and that's kind of just the theme of everything. It's just like you don't know what the future will bring. You don't know what opportunities will pop up. It's just kind of just making something out of the mist that's put in front of us. And that all came into I guess like the big climax was at Southern Cross Up this year. We took home 7 placings among the team, which was really cool. Like Southern Cross Up was like what 2-3 weeks ago now. Yeah, it's already November coming up now, and I guess the rest of the year, they were just looking forward to like I guess plans for damage or whatever Dave and the StandingFierce team have I guess set for the end of the year. And that's just I guess this year's been a write-off. Let's be honest.
It has been. Yeah,
it's a write-off, but we've been able to salvage it as best as we can. But yeah, it hasn't been the worst year, hasn't been the best year, but the good things really do outweigh the crap stuff that's been thrown our way.
Bro. And this set that you had with Isaac, your Mvci run, this final set was so good, man. Like, I don't watch Marvel that much, but this was so, man, you could have gone out at any moment, man. This was good. This was so tight.
This match was like this was the first game of top 8.
Yeah.
Like I think the set ran for like maybe 20-30 minutes, and then we still had the rest of the top 8 to go. So I get me and Isaac, it's been I'd like to say it's been back and forth, but for the most part it has been on Isaac's side. Isaac, strong fighting game player, undefeated Street Fighter Cross Tekken player, very versatile, and like the way he's able to adapt to any fighting game. And I guess for Marvel Infinite, it's been one of those things where it's there's been times where I have Isaac's number, and there's times where he has my number. I guess with using like last year's stats, I didn't do too well against him at majors. I choked my winner's side advantage at war, taking second place to him. And then at Nats last year, I choked the 2-0 lead in the first match of top 8. So this was actually a run back from Nets last year as well.
I see. Okay.
So we started top 8 against each other as well. And it was weird. Like Isaac's being like, as Isaac's being like very focused on his Fortnite. We always like tease him on the side, like, hey man, you gotta come back to Marvel. But he was playing the long game because all those Marvel characters went to Fortnite. He knew what was happening, so he was really playing Marvel, not Fortnite. But yeah, it was weird. I remember thinking in the set, like especially in this match, I had that, like I've taken the lead now. We're taking out Dante. He has Soulstorm available. I'm like, nah, I have this in the bag. But he just manages to turn it around like every single time.
Yeah.
And that's just like the real like Isaac has really great composure. And like even there, I got so lucky to like, even survive that little sequence. Yep. But like even when I look back at it, like I stood up. And, at the end of it, I'm like looking around, like like what? Like one, because I'm like I knew my super would win, but then I'm just like, bro, like did this really happen? I remember like walking back to the bleachers, and the boys are just like looking at me like, bro, we've never seen you play like so patient in your life. Like I don't even remember having this much of a life deficit. Like that's how. Like I remember sitting there, and I was like, don't look at the health bars, don't look at the time, just do your best not to get touched. And that was the whole mentality, and I was just like, okay, nah, there's like I kind of gave up already, in all honesty. But it's like that's not the sort of mentality you want to have, especially someone like Isaac. Isaac being in that winners seat so many times before, and he can sniff if you're nervous and stuff. But yeah, I got some really lucky bounces like that. Yeah, I should have been dead right there too. But really, all it came down to was just trying to slow down my mind. One thing that's sort of I guess over the years, one thing I still haven't really learned is, or learned as well, is to try and keep that composure. Yeah, no, you would know as well. Like the adrenaline kicks in. You're trying to mount this comeback. Isaac plays very defensive. Like in this set, he already had a timeout. Like win against me, like 2 games before. I guess if I had to compare playstyles, like his Isaac's playstyle, like hit and run, really does. Like I struggle against it. My team doesn't have the best mobility. I can't lock you down. So as soon as like Isaac gets a life lead, he can just run away for like the rest of the game. I can't do anything about it. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I put all my energy into this one comeback. I felt it. Like I guess I was super drained.
Yeah.
Like the adrenaline like in my body didn't like calm down until like probably just before I got up to play my winners final match. But
Yeah, Seb was losing his nuts, man.
I remember jumping in, opening up the chat, and like shoutouts to like all of our fellow North American players as well. They were all tuned in at like 3 in the morning to watch us play Marvel. Like shoutouts to those guys. They're always there supporting our scene. And they did this all like they're like, bro, like what the fuck? I'm like I don't know too. I was like I don't know how it happened, but it happened. And it's like I was gutted. I couldn't bring it home. Mason being the god of Marvel he is. But I mean like that comeback, I have it saved. Like I'll watch it like every day. Like I'm just like, bro, this is like if I had to pick any moment for like Mvci, like that would be it.
In general, that was probably one of the first clips I saw of Nationals after the weekend. That was the one that came up first. Yeah, man.
Yeah, because I know Jaco, man. So he's he's a Marvel player in the States. Like he puts up like Marvel content every day, and he put it up the next day as well. I was just like, and we were just like, oh, watching it back. And that's when I told the boys, I was like, bro, I did not know, like, I was losing by that much. Because in my head, I was like, oh no, it was just like a little. It wasn't that big of a comeback. But well, it's a moment, eh? They'll last. We play for the clip. We say that among the boys, like. We always joke about like we're playing for the clips, we're playing for the dub, but really gotta get the clip.
That is a team I see quite a lot. Is Dante and Zero, Dante and Thanos. They're quite strong, and you said that Thor and Morgan they lack mobility. Is that kind of their big hindrance?
It's like I would say that is. Morgan, she can't travel on the ground traditionally like every other character. She immediately like goes into the air. Thor, being a big body, he is quite fast, for a big body character. But when you put it against someone like Dante, Zero, Dormammu as well, top 3 characters in the game, and then you add Soulstorm and stuff on top of that. I don't like making excuses, and yet at the end of the day, it's like Wiz, you could just pick a lot, some better characters, But yeah, I'm a loyalist. I've stuck with this team since day one. Well, I stuck with Thor since day one. Morgan came like a few months later, but that's what made it work. Like that's what I found that works for me. It's at the end of the day, it's up to you to learn the matchup. It's up to you to jump in the lab, do the work. I hate using excuses. I hate being like, nah, they're using top tier characters. I think that's the worst excuse because at the end of the day, anyone can play a top tier, but not everyone can play it well. Isaac can play any team he wants. Mason can play any team he wants. Seb can play any team he wants. At the end it's just their fundamentals are so strong. And at the end of the day, if I can't win, it's got to get better.
Yeah. That's a good mindset, bro. And so you and the Tengaboiz, did you have a celebration afterwards? Did you go for a drink up or anything?
Yep. So we had our little celebration back at our accommodation. Funny story was that I couldn't hear anything that weekend. So I was playing pretty much deaf. that whole weekend. I was the butt of a lot of jokes that weekend as well. So yeah, it was like that Friday before we drove down to Hamilton. And I just went to like doctors to get my hearing checked. And just had some ringing in the ear. Thought it was like tinnitus or something. And they were like, "Oh, cool, we'll give you some drops. And you get it sorted, and you do like get your ears like followed up, and you get it cleaned down, all of that, bring some infection down, stuff like that." So I was like, cool. And then I took the drops, and then I noticed that my ears like my hearing started to clog up, and I was just like, nah, maybe it's just like the drops are just like kicking in. And then I took one more set of drops before we headed to the venue on Friday, and then I was just like, I looked at the boys, I was like, I can't hear anything, eh? Like, I can't hear anything at all. It's like I'm fucked, eh?
Wait,
It's like
So when you were playing Marvel, couldn't hear?
I could barely hear anything. I was just going off like visuals, and I was just like, and like I would try my best to try and like pick up the sound from like cause of how like the sound was coming through from like the stage and such. But yeah, literally like as soon as like I would hop off or like the boys would sit down next to me or whoever I was playing with sit down next to me and like ask me a question, I'm just like nodding away, not even realizing that that's like I'm just like yo, but it's like they're asking me how my weekend is, not a yes or no question. I'm just like bro, sorry, I can't hear it. I can't hear anything.
Oh no, bro.
Yeah, so literally like the only time I could hear anything was when I was on commentary because I had the headphones on and the sound was like going straight into my ears. But everything else was just like, nah, I can't hear anything to save my life.
So you played that.
I was
So
just
you played
paranoid.
that set with Isaac handicapped. You played the weekend handicapped, essentially. You couldn't really hear much.
Pretty much.
Wow.
Pretty much. At the same time, like it's not like we have sound on every setup, but I didn't want to I didn't want to use it as an OS.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I was like, I think it gave me that the one, I guess the silver lining was that not having the hearing, just I guess it made me have to like I had to concentrate a lot better.
Yeah.
Focus in a lot more. I guess it helps because one thing that I've noticed as well is when I'm playing, like I can't zone the crowd out.
Yeah.
Because I can hit like if I hear everyone like getting hyped, I start to get hyped inside as well. And I start to lose focus. So I guess it was a good thing. But but afterwards, like I think that was the one thing that I sort of I didn't like was that I tried to like catch up with everyone. I felt really bad having to ask people to like repeat themselves. Again, like those same sort of things like people are asking how I am and I'm just like nodding away.
Yeah.
Like and stuff like that. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's it made it a lot more memorable. Like the boys would give me a lot of shit, like they'll just be like pretending to whisper and just laughing away, and then like I'm just like it's alright. I can't hear you, so like I'm reading your lips. All I see are compliments, so you're not hurting me right now. It's like I'm not being affected by the words you're saying, but yeah, that's one little thing, that the boys knew about. I got roasted so bad for it. Yeah. Oh well. Yeah, the best time to get your ears checked, everyone. It's just like the day of Nets.
Yeah.
Day of Nets. Yeah. Why miss flights? Why miss your bus when you can lose your hearing?
So you mentioned it before, and we'll bring it up now. Tell us about Tengaboiz, bro. How did the name Tengaboiz come to be? What birthed this group?
I know, like the beginning. I guess the origin of it. I guess like when that conversation happened. I can't pinpoint. So a lot of the things that we put up online or like the sayings that we have, it's all inside stuff. But I guess where the name came from was there was a phase where we were just joking, like we would. Actually, I'll take it right back. So every Friday night, we would jump on Call of Duty. Like that would be our thing. Like like every Friday night, because Michael like would work nights, so we can't play fighting games through the week. Reef would be busy with studies. I'll be like jumping off early. So like, and the one night we could all like get together to play games was on a Friday night. So we would play COD. And we would just like joke about random stuff. And there was a time when we were constantly playing Tengaboiz. and queuing up Vengaboy songs.
Okay.
And then as a joke, one of us, like my gut feeling is that it was Vala. We just like joked around saying like, oh, if we made a team, or like the clan tag, on like COD, like what would it be? And since we were listening to Vengaboys so much, we're like, oh, why don't you just change that V to a T and call it the Tengaboiz? And it was funny because like this logo here, this wasn't the original logo. We actually had like the actual Vengaboys logo, and then we got one of the boys to change it and turn it from like the yellowish to like pink.
Ah,
Because
yeah.
you're like, what color should we use? You're like, we'll use pink. We changed it to a T, and then it just became like our little inside thing, little inside joke of ours. So like the group chat changed to Tengaboiz. We had this like Tengaboiz logo, and then it was kind of like, okay, we should let's try and like make this a thing. Let's go to Nats because Nats was the next event coming up. We're like, let's make something of it. Bella was one that's like he really pushed for it. I pushed for it as well. But Bella was the one that he really picked up and like sort of drove the passion behind it. So he went and got us all of these shirts done. And then it became like just like legit everything about TB is just like jokes that we find like funny between ourselves, and then we're like, I'm sure everyone else will find this funny too. It's like all of the things, like the always on never off is because we're talking shit in like game chat to like to like people on COD, and like all of the other things that we have as well. But yeah, that's really it started off as a joke. Like it was meant to be a meme. It was never meant to be the way it is now. But yeah, it was it's weird looking back because it feels so normal for us now. I think it was around the time of House of M, actually House of M 2. That's when we sort of like established like, okay, this is our team. It's me, Simp, Raiden, yours truly, and Reef, yours truly. Tafts wasn't a part of it as much as yet. That was I guess after Nets. We sort of took him on board and were like, hey, this is our vision. Jump on board. And yeah, it just really took off from there. We started like we all watched wrestling growing up as well. We were trying to like decide about a logo. We actually started off with the Evolution.
Oh, yeah.
Logo, yeah. So like Vala had like did a mock up. Changing the Evolution logo to say Tengaboiz. And then one thing we really liked the whole wrestling imagery behind it. And that's when we ended up taking the SmackDown logo and redoing it to be Tengaboiz.
It fits really well.
Yeah, and it's because that was the whole idea. We're like, we'll do a stream. We'll stream Here Comes the Pain, like just do like random things like that, just for the fun of it. It's really just us just having fun at the end of the day. But at the same time, it's sort of like, okay, we've had our fun. Let's see what we can do with it now. And I guess that first step was picking ghost ships up. And we're like, okay, cool. Like I think for us, it's one of those things. Like we've all everyone's seen like ghost ships grow.
Yeah.
Like from the days when he won his first title. Even I guess when he won his first major. I think, what was it? Red Zone Rumble 2. And just seeing like the shy boy like turn into this not like still sort of shy young man. It's I know he's been looked after by pretty much everyone in the community, and like we always saw him as a little brother to us. I guess for like 3 of us, we saw him as a son. #3 dads. And it was just one of those things. I spoke with Ghost to say, hey, we're gonna be taking this thing a little bit more seriously. Like we like to take you on board. Look after you for like the rest of the year. Just take that financial strain off you. And then I guess branching out even more, picking up AJ as anything for Hamilton as well. So it really just became I guess sort of just like that community effort. Like all of us, like I mentioned at the beginning, I'm not too focused, I guess, on like that, like being the best. We all want to be the best, but that's not like the sole reason why. like I come to events now. It's one like to catch up with everyone, do what I can to help out, around the around the tournament and such. But I guess for me, Simp, and Tasks, we saw it as an opportunity to give back to the community. So like I guess when the next major comes up, finding like the local talent around there. I mean, just really, I guess, just giving back. The community has given us so much, in terms of like memories, like life lessons as well. Everyone, like people from all walks of life, like join the community, and now it's like for us, we want to do the same. We want to pay it forward. Like that whole idea of paying it forward for me, it means a lot to me because Garden of Might. Which is kind of like the event that I really took off. I wasn't meant to be there. I was going through a really rough patch, just in life. Like studies weren't going too well. A lot of personal stuff was happening. I decided to like leave I was like juggling part-time work and full-time study. I decided like I wanted to just focus on studies, which meant I had to give up income. Which meant I had to like cancel on Garden of Might. And I had someone tap me on the shoulder and be like, hey, what's your email address? And all of that. And I always say it. Shenron blessed me to send me down. So Shenron granted my wish to go down to Garden of Might. And I remember asking Shenron, well, like what do I need to do? Like how can I repay you? And the one thing Shenron said was to, if there ever comes a time where someone else is in the same position, they can't go, or like, they can't afford their fees, like just pay it back.
Yeah.
Just pay it forward.
Yeah.
Like, I told him, I was like, how can I repay you? Like, I can't, like this is your money. Like, why are you why are you sponsoring me? Like, you could sponsor anyone else. But Shenron, he was like, you're a really good Marvel player. I see the potential. I want to see you go down. And I took third when I went down. And like, I guess that was like sort of my first sort of event where I was like, okay, I feel like part of the community now. But I will never forget that. And now TB is just an extension of that. It's like we want to pay it forward, on a wider scale. And it's and like for all of us in TB, like we've had similar experiences where like someone has like jumped in to like pay that extra game fee or like offer up their couch to like sleep at a major, and it really is just like pushing home that that whole this is a family, this is a community. We're there to like push each other in game, but also they push each other in life. Like I've learned so much, like in and out of the game, just from being around the community, and that's the one thing that brings me back. And, it's time for me to do my part. And
honestly, that's beautiful, man. I can really see why. Like, I think you guys can grow a decent following because you're not like other orgs. You're like a sub-child of StandingFierce. You're not artificial. You're as real as it gets. Every one of you guys. And you play your own role the best that you can.
Yeah. It's honestly just one of those things that like all of the stuff like it looks really organized. It really isn't.
On the fly.
It's all on the fly. We joke around like some fellas like the HTIC, like head thing in charge. I'm the COO, the Chief Operating Officer of TV, and Tasks we call him the Treasurer. And like everyone has their roles. But a lot of stuff is like we'll be sitting in Discord every night. I'm just like even if we go back because you had AJ on before me, and I saw you guys went over the draft. I like that whole idea. Like it wasn't even to be like a really simple Instagram post. Like that's all like Simp wanted to do.
It was elaborate, bro.
And I remember, and I was lying in bed, and he sent me the photo, and he was like, "Bro, we'll just put this up on the Instagram page." And then I just had to like this flash. I was like, "Wait!" And I got out of bed. I jumped on my PC. I jumped on in Discord. I was like, "Wait, what if we do the WWE draft? Like have it go through all of the superstars, and then boom, it flashes and it shows AJ." And he was like, "Oh yeah." And I was like, "Cool, I'm gonna leave you to do it because I can't do this shit to save my life." But that's the idea, right? So it's like small things like that. Like like we just do it because we're just like joking around and we're just like taking the piss. Like even like Ghost Chips, his announcement. I was like, bro, let's play on the wrestling theme. He's Brock Lesnar. He's the beast. Like nobody can beat him. Like let's do the announcement like that. And it's one sticking to the wrestling theme, but also it's just like, man, we just have like all of these stupid ideas. Like even that unboxing video, we were like, man, what if we got
that pink notebook? Like, I was thinking, are you serious?
Yeah. So Regan's gonna kill us, what I say. So Regan celebrated his birthday a few months ago, and then like we were discussing just among the boys, we're like, shucks, we should get something for Regan, and we were just like, what if we got him like a Barbie laptop? And then like we were on the call with Tafs at the time, and like it was just a joke, and then like 10 seconds later, Tafs sends a link and he's like, I found one. I'll trade you. And we were like, bro, that's like perfect, eh? And it was just meant to be a joke. Like I didn't think we'd actually do it. And then like the next day, Tafs was like, cool, I put the order in, it's on its way. And then we were just like, oh shit. So yeah, it's like, and then we're like lockdown happened. You know, and that was going to be one of our things that we wanted to do for marketing for TB leading up to Nats. We're like, cool, we'll do like an unboxing video. We'll do our photo shoot. Shout outs to Koki, jumping on board as well. Like we'll do all of the stuff, like, cause like if we're gonna take this seriously, yeah, we need to like up our social media game. We need to up our media game in general. And in the whole unboxing video, like even that, well, like we had the idea, and it was not like it wasn't meant to be the way it was.
Oh, okay.
Like it wasn't like when we talked about it, like cool, we'll just do like a really cliche unboxing video. Like we'll see if we can get like Koki to like to help record it, or if like calendars lined up, we'll reach out to Will or someone like that to help us film this. End of Nets came around and we're just like, damn it, we couldn't do it, and we needed to kill some time, so we went to a park and we're just like, cool, we'll just record it on my phone. Like we'll just like sit at a bench and we'll gift it to him. But I didn't know that those fucks were running around in the background doing the Ruder runs and cartwheels. Like I had no idea that was going on. And it was funny because like Richard was the one that was recording it, and I could see him trying to keep a straight face. But I thought he was trying to keep a straight face because we were doing the unboxing. And after we recorded the video and we're all watching it back, like all the boys are holding us my phone, I can't see anything, and they're just losing their shit. I'm just like, why are you guys laughing so hard? And I watched it back and I was like, oh, fuck me.
Always on, baby.
Always on, never off. And then I was just like, I looked and I was like, nah, that's perfect. And then we all looked at it too, we're like, nah, this is it. Like, that was all one take.
That was the one take. Oh.
Yeah, we just did one take. Tafs did 2 cartwheels, one before we recorded, and he landed it. And when we recorded it, he caked it, but that's what made the video. And yeah, it was literally just meant to be like a joke. And we put it up, and the next day we saw it like 1.3k views, like 2,000 impressions and stuff like that, and we're just like, that was a cool way to cap off the weekend. Like one, we did the work, and like in bracket, we came in with our 2 first places, 3 second places, 2 third places, and we just put up a video to be like, at the end of the day, we're just a group of the boys just trying to have fun.
No.
I think Regan was a little bit gutted. It wasn't actually an Omen laptop.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's he saw the funny side in it, and we're happy to see that a lot of other people saw the funny side in it too.
No, it was funny, man. Once again, congratulations to you guys and your placings at Nationals this year. I wanted to go over briefly on the other games that you play. So there's Battle for the Grid, and you had Pinolicious, because he was a target. It was Pinolicious versus the Tengaboiz. So how did that one turn out?
Cool. So we started the year Sub-Zero Scuffle, and it was weird because like I know Grid isn't a new game. It's been out for quite a few years. It just happened to be that like everyone, like one of us picked it up, and then as soon as Dave starts playing it on the stream, and we're like, oh yo, cool, let's pick it up. So yeah, prior to Sub-Zero Scuffle, I think it was mainly Darren and a few of the other boys playing it, and then we were like, cool, it's like Marvel. It's really fast paced. I don't have a personal connection to Power Rangers, and that was the one reason why I never played it. But like, cool, like it's a fun game. And then we went to Sub-Zero. Me and Vala made top 3, so he came third. I came first, and Yoma came second. And we sort of decided like, cool, this will be this might be one of the main games that we sort of pick up and try and defend in. But you had Darren. This was his game. He was like, this is the fighting game that he really meshed well with. And I guess it was organic. He saw that like Tengaboiz were the ones that they were, I guess, were asserting their dominance in the game. And it just made sense. Like who are gonna be the ones that take down Tengaboiz. And I guess what also helped as well was, Sub-Zero scuffle happened. I won. I was going around like talking a lot of shit like, cool, like nobody else in the country is gonna win a major for Power Rangers. Like you can win all your online Rambats, you can win all of your normal Rambats, but no one's gonna win a major. There'll always be the one blemish. Like there's only one guy that's won a major, and it's not you guys, it's me. And that's basically what it became. It was like, cool. Like when online Rambat started, I think I won the second one. And then Darren was starting to like pick up the game a lot better. He was playing with a lot of the international players, getting really good at the game. And then he just had our number. Like I remember the one he first won. I think he like reset it from losers, or like just beat me 6-0 or 3-0 from winner's side. And it just like we couldn't beat him. Like we didn't know what it was. But at the same time, we were just like, nah, I'll wait for an offline. And when the first Rambats happened after lockdown. He went 0-2.
Yeah.
He lost to Sim 3-0, and then I beat him 3-0. And we're just like, Darren, you really are TB's bitch. And we're just like, it was just like, it's just banter at the end of the day.
No, but it's fun. It was amusing because
there'd
be moments where like he'd say, "Oh, I'm gonna come to Rambats and sort out the Tengaboiz," and then he'd post later that evening saying, "Oh, I couldn't come. I had family stuff." So there was always this build up of, "Oh, he's gonna finally show up and do some work," and it's like, "Oh, next time."
Yep. And that's why it was so hilarious, because it was like the same sort of story at Nets. No, so there was that Rambats, and then like we ended up going for like dinner that night, and he came along with us, and we were just like giving him shit the whole time. But at the end, it's just bad. It just makes it a lot more funnier to play the game. Because like the one thing like with like Grid and Marvel, like our scenes aren't that big. We don't have a lot of players coming in, and like the players that do stick around, like what makes it interesting for us is just like all the shit talk that goes between us. And then Nets came around, and it was the same similar story, is that I think Darren put a lot of pressure on himself to like he's like, hey, if I want to win, he knows he has to go through me, Butler, and Reef. Then on top of us three, Dave could have a really good weekend. Mason could have, like, Mason almost made top 4. Like he almost sent me to losers, and he almost knocked Darren out. And it was just like, I guess it was written. He had to go into top 4. He ended up losing to 2 Tengaboiz again. Because Sim sent him to losers 3-0, and then he lost to Reef. That losers quarter or loser semi. That we just told him after Nets, we're just like, maybe you maybe you should just give up the game. It's just like, and it was so hilarious because we were taking top 3 photos, and I don't know if like Dave was just taking the piss as well, but he was like, Aaron, go take a top 4 photo with the boys. We're just like, and like Darren just looked at us, he's like, I don't want to take that photo. We're like, Darren, just come, man, just come take the photo with us. And it was just bants at the end of the day, but it gave us something to focus on. Because even for us, we had a chip on our shoulder during online Rambats. We're like, how are we Darren's really good fighting gameplay, bro. Like, how are we losing? Like, when this was our game for like the first quarter of this year, like, how are we just suddenly losing and we can't figure it out? We don't know how to beat them. But then we went offline. We're like, nah, we still got it. We still got it.
So you compete in Battle for the Grid, and there's also MK11, and they just put out the Combat Pack 2 info in the trailer for Rain. So do you have any creative thoughts on that?
I was surprised. I was surprised that, I wasn't surprised they had a Combat Pack 2. Like, when they did that whole Aftermath expansion, I was like, nah, there's no way they're only doing, like, story chapters and 3 like new characters. Like there has to be one more pack. But I did not expect Rain, Melina, and Rambo
Rambo, God,
to
that
be
was
the
yeah.
Yeah, like I think what Ed Boon would say that he wants to like do fan favorites for this, like in particular for this game. Like I'm not a fan of DLC characters being like characters that you would expect to be base characters.
Yeah.
I think Rain looks cool though. I really like Rain. Not so much Melina. I was sort of the same for Rambo. Then I saw his trailer. Dope.
Yeah.
But I guess in terms of playing, playing Mortal Kombat 11, it's I don't know. I couldn't really I couldn't find my feet playing the game.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Like I enjoy watching the game. Playing it is a whole different story. But like I'll still enter it. Like at the end of the day, before I was a Marvel player, I was an NRS player. You know, when I was growing up, I played like fighting games with my uncles. It was Mortal Kombat that we would play, like more than Street Fighter. So like Mortal Kombat will always have a soft place in my heart. But Mortal Kombat 11 in particular, not so much. One could say that I just haven't recovered from my NRS loss a few years ago, and that's when I lost to Mason,
Oh yeah.
and I got bodied, and I got yeah, like my saltiest moment, definitely. But yeah, I didn't really I couldn't really mesh with MK11. I couldn't find the character that I liked. But you know, I'm happy for the guys and girls that do play Mortal Kombat 11. Yeah, at the end of the day, I still love watching it. I loved watching it at Combo Breaker. Like that was hype. But yeah, it's like I won't jump at Combat Pack 2. It probably won't be a day one purchase for me, but it might be something I play on the side in secret.
Yeah. Well, you do. The Tengaboiz do have Simp and Duseki, and there's a few others that play Mortal Kombat. And I mean, Duseki is quite strong. I think he came second at Nationals this year.
Yeah, so he had second at Sub-Zero Scuffle and second at Nats. So he was like for me and Reef, it's one of those things, like Mortal Kombat X was a big game that we played back in college. And Injustice, not so much. Like the boys didn't really pick up on Injustice. That was more so my thing. Simp as well. Yeah. He didn't really play NRS games, but Mortal Kombat 11, it really just rewarded. It played like Street Fighter essentially. Really rewarded those footsies. So you know he picked up the game quite well. You know, worked well for him. You know, we just, I guess for us, it wasn't a priority for Nets. It was one of those things like cool, like our main focus is Marvel, Grid, Street Fighter, but I mean we'll still support the scenes like throughout the game. I mean it was good to see that Reef hasn't lost his touch.
Oh man, he's still deadly.
Yeah, he still gets it. Vala hasn't really lost his touch as well. I was a little too rusty. I was like one game away from top 4 as well. But it's I mean it's fun. I still find it fun. It's just not how it used to feel for me. But yeah, I love that Butterjaw still pushes the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, cause at the end of the day, it's like if you want your game to thrive, like someone's got to be pushing it. And that's the same thing we do with Grid. It's the same thing we do with Marvel. It's the same thing that like a lot of the anime players do with their games as well. You know, it's really just playing for the love of playing it. You know, it's and like the one beautiful thing I liked about online Rambats as well is that we saw a lot of these like NRS players are like notorious for being the online warriors of fighting games, and it was really cool to see I guess them like showcased as well. But yeah, hopefully that like there'll be a time where we get to see them play offline as well. You know, but like the biggest you know, like one of the bigger things was when Boy turned up last year and he won Nets dominating fashion. Like you know, I personally he stole number 1 in New Zealand, and if I'm gonna be biased and say he's I see him top 2 in OCE. You know, but it's one of those things. Like I'll still play it, but yeah, I think it's cool. But at the same time, I'm sort of just hoping for Injustice 3 to be
the new
to be announced
the
there.
new NetherRealm title. Yeah. Well, you have mentioned it quite a few times before. Combo Breaker. Now this is something that a must go-to event for any FGC player.
Yep.
Yeah, so tell us about how that came to fruition, man.
So Combo Breaker was so the main reason why I went over was for the community I guess run tour, or I guess sort of circuit, which was Fatal Two Worlds. So the guys behind that had reached out to us, because they knew that we played Marvel Infinite down here in New Zealand. And, it was one of those games that they would tune in to watch all of our streams, they would tune in to watch all of our majors, and they really wanted to, I guess, make us feel included in that circuit. They saw that we're putting in the work, so let's give them a chance to qualify. So they reached out, and I remember it because it was me, Dave, and Tafts talking about it. And like I knew Tafts was always gonna go, but when they told us that they were gonna include us in the circuit, it sort of gave me that reason to be like, okay, I want to go too. Like, yeah, I want to invest in this too. And like this was my first international major. This was my first time in America.
Wow.
So it was kind of like I was trying to like justify. I was like, because in my head I was like, the frugal side of me was like, nah, like you don't need to do this. You don't need to go over. Like yeah, it'll be nice, but it's like it's not really what you need right now. And I think in hindsight I was like, it definitely was what I needed. Just to see like a new part of the world, like meet some new people as well. So yeah, so we got introduced to this, or I guess invited to the circuit, and then they saw we were running House of M. We still had Nats and Red Zone Rumble 3 to like earn some points. And it was actually like 2 of our players qualified, so it was myself and Isaac. Isaac wasn't able to make it to Chicago, so his spot got given up to the next person. But as soon as I qualified, and that was after Red Zone, it was pretty much all the chips are in. I know like for Regan, like he's always been looking to push himself a lot more. So he already had his eyes on the international competition. But for me, it was just like, cool, I have a reason to go. Like I was still going to do my very best. I didn't do as well as I hoped. I just put too much pressure on myself. Like I guess I was more worried about putting on a good show rather than playing to the best of my ability.
Yeah.
And I guess like that was the reason why I wanted to go back, because I definitely saw a change like after getting exposed to like different styles of play, like learning new strategies, being able to like bring back some of those tips and tricks as well to help some of our scene. But I think a lot of the scene, I guess a lot of the world are just sleeping on the talent that we have here in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Like if you gave us the opportunity to, if we had the opportunity to like compete, against like competition like this on the regular, and which is another reason why I think like Ghost Ships and like Boy 9-1, like why they do so well as well is like they expose themselves to like the Australian competition. Like they're grinding the game, like not only against like our local talent but international ones, and they're just really pushing those boundaries a lot more. And it's one of those things where I think if our Marvel players were like, and one like the obvious like example is Mason, like like Mason could be like if you gave him like all the money in the world to like travel around, like you would see him on the Evo stage one day, like in top 8. Like I firmly believe that, and I think that for anyone in our country.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it really is. It's just like it really is just taking the opportunity when it comes up. But yeah, it was a trip that I half remember. Yeah, I remember half of that Chicago trip, thanks to a lot of tequila. But it was a really fun time. I made some really good friends. Like we check in like every now and then. They check in on our streams. They come to say hi and all of that, and it's really cool. Just the way fighting games just like transcend all of those boundaries. And like it really does just bring everyone together. Like the one thing I always remember is like when we first met everyone for the first time, it was like, whoa, like this is you in real life. and you're like exactly like me. The only difference is that you have like an American accent, but like we're all into the same things. Like we all like get the same, like have the all have the same like type of humor. Yeah, we just mesh well, and like that's the most beautiful thing about like joining like a community like this. It's like the games are great, playing the games are like amazing, but like the people you meet, the friends you make, the family you make, can't top
Yeah,
that.
bro. I know you just said you couldn't really remember the weekend, but do you remember anything about your pool run, bracket run, like your matches?
Yep. So I played Senior Taxi for one of my first games. So Senior Taxi is a really strong Marvel 3 player. He didn't really we had about I think 112 person bracket for Marvel Infinite. That was probably the biggest Marvel Infinite tournament in a long time. So I played Senior Taxi first. I won that set 3-2. And then I had to play Dual Kevin. um, which was pretty cool. I it I could feel the nerves when I was playing Dual Kevin because one, you're going up against the number one seed in the whole bracket. And, I got bodied, but I did a lot better than I expected. It really was just that whole thing about nerves. Like I knew that nobody was there to judge the way I was playing, but I felt like I just always had that thought at the back of my mind. I was like, okay, this is the guy that flew over from New Zealand. He's the one that's in our like in our top 16 for Fail 2 rules. Like he has to know how to play. And I think I psyched myself out.
Yeah.
And when I look back, especially at that Dual Kevin set, I'm like, I feel like I could have done a lot better. I could have, maybe I could have lost like 3-1 instead, or maybe even 3-2. But it's just one of those things. It was a lesson for me to learn, about like, just focusing on me, focusing on the game. So I played him, and then I guess my second match of losers was against very strong Marvel 2 player. So Josh 360. And like for me, it was just like, whoa, I get to play like a really good Marvel 3 player and like the best Marvel Infinite player at the time, Dual Kevin, and then I get to play one of the best like Marvel 2 players as well. And like I knew that like when I was playing Josh 360, and like that was a lot closer than the game with Dual Kevin, probably because I shook off the nerves by then. But it was so cool just being exposed to like new styles of play.
Yeah.
I could feel like Dave and all of the Marvel 2 players like enjoying what I was enjoying by playing like a really strong Marvel 2 player. Like I could feel that they were living through me. Oh, there's a little shot of Bane as well. And there. And like after we would play our sets, like they would give me some tips to be like, oh, focus on this, focus on that for next
Oh,
time.
that's good.
And like yeah, which was like really cool. And like I honestly learned so much. And then like that my match here was with Emo Raw. I think I lost that 3-2 if I recall, if not 3-1. But it was like Emo Raw ended up winning Fatal 2 Worlds, and he's like he I would say hands down top 5 Marvel Infinite player in the world. And he was the same sort of story. Like after we play, give me some tips like to work on for next time. And that's basically what it was. It was like a really good chance for me to sort of like lab on the fly, learn some new tips and tricks. And when I came back, I felt like a new player. I brought back a lot of strategies to help the boys, like I guess tie up some loose ends on their gameplay, and it really just helped do my part to help bring the scene up. And then it ended up leading to like my teammate like Raiden, taking House of M2 over me, which is something else that it haunts me to this day because that car ride home was very awkward. Um, yeah, I'm driving the guy that just beat me like 6-1 in grand finals. Butler, who went home with a Marvel 2 trophy that he didn't even earn. We're not going to talk about that. And then Reef that won the raffle for the Marvel Infinite stick. So I'm like driving these guys, and they're all in my car, like with all of their like trophies and stuff. And I'm just like, bro, I just want to drop you guys off on the side.
Yeah. Just leave you here and just get.
Yeah. At the same time, it's like I'm so happy that I was able to like get this experience in Chicago. But like the one thing I always remember, it's like just how welcoming all of the Marvel players were. Like my welcome to America, which is like when Bane when Bane Hollow like sat me down when we first got to the venue, and he was like, "Cool, let's play a set," and then like he beat me like 20-0, and he just laughed. He just laughed and looked at me, and he was like, "Welcome to America."
Oh,
And I was
wow.
like, I was like, I love to say it's like just seeing the speed and play. And, there was a shot there of me playing dual Kevin. Bane was on the side like coaching me as well. Like I only met these guys like 2 days before, like officially, but like they were going out of their way to help out, and I'm like, that's the thing I love about the Marvel community. It's like they're toxic as fuck. Like not denying
Yeah.
that, but it's we really are just trying to push each other to be the best players we can be, like in and out of the game. It's so cool.
If the year didn't get scrapped, what overseas tournament would you have hit up next?
If it would have been combo, and then it would have been working towards the Fatal 2 Worlds finale for this year. So that would have been held at Undefeated in Arizona. So that would have been a new place to visit in America as well. I know Taft said like he had his whole trip planned out to like do both events, and I wanted to do the same sort of thing, and we wanted to bring as many Marvel players as we could. So definitely would have been those two. I definitely wanted to go to Australia for an event as well. I had a bit of FOMO, like seeing Bam, even though it was at the same time as Combo Breaker last year. I'd seen that in OHN, like that was I guess the next logical step. You go to an Australian major. I mean, I knew that like Marvel wasn't sort of as big in Australia, but just going to I guess support our Australian brothers and sisters as well. So yeah, definitely would have been those. But I mean, fingers crossed next year that I guess things are a bit more safer to travel.
That's cool how
Maybe
that's cool how like there's the MVC tournaments, like the exclusive Marvel tournaments. So like House of M. Are there any other like special exclusive MVC tournaments that happen either online or offline?
Not so much exclusive. I guess like the closest it gets is that Fatal 2 Worlds circuit, but I mean at the same time it's not really so much exclusive. You gotta earn your way in. But even like with House of M, like brainchild of Tufts, an opportunity to like, celebrate the love of the game. That was one thing that got put on hold this year as well. We weren't able to do House of M3. I don't know. Maybe he has plans ready for next year, contingency plan. But in terms of I guess that whole exclusive sort of tournament thing, like one thing that I always thought would be cool is like if other scenes jumped on it, like if you had like a Zaibatsu sort of like Tekken weekend day, like having like Tekken Tag and like Tekken 7 and like playing like like pulling out like one classic Tekken game as well. Like there's so much potential in this like for like the scene like to do that. Or even like I remember seeing what for like Connor's House of Man, and they ran like that little Soul Calibur
Soul Edge,
sort of like stuff like that. I think it's so cool, and like I think in times like this where we can't like travel outside of New Zealand, or we can barely travel through the country because of like ever changing like lockdown restrictions, like this is like the perfect time like for someone to jump on it. Like it's not like it's like patented to like have an exclusive like tournament or weekend like that. It really is just one of those things. Because like House of M, it's done for the love of the game, and I know like discussions that we would have is like, man, it would be cool if like we saw like the Tekken scene do this, or like the Street Fighter one would be alright, but like seeing like a Tekken one would be so cool, because like there might be like the cool thing about House of M, that's what brings the older players back out. To have one more go at playing the game.
Yeah, well, it's slightly different, but I mean, Dave and StandingFierce do Damage a Cup for Street Fighter. I think they were looking at doing it for Tekken somewhat, but obviously things changed. Do you think could they do one Damage a Cup for Marvel, or is there no need for it?
Yeah, I would say there's no need for it, and I think that's where House of M definitely comes in. But I guess in the absence of House of M, like one thing, I guess like what a regular Marvel tournament, just like for a quick plug, is the Gauntlet.
The Gauntlet, yeah.
Which is run by Ross Arcade and ICU Hater, DonCon. So they run that every Friday, our time, Friday afternoon. And they gave us the opportunity to do a New Zealand version last year, So we're currently like little sneak peek is that we're currently working on that Gauntlet 2.0. We're just trying to find a date that sort of works for everyone. But you know, same sort of thing. It's not so much that it's an exclusive event. It's just a chance for us to sort of showcase the scene once more. I guess a little salty run back from Nets as well. I know there's a lot of salt. I know there's certain players. Sib, you know, he wasn't able to
Oh
play
man,
in Nets. You know, this will be his chance to sort of like close off his year on a high. But yeah, like I don't think we necessarily need that Damager Cup sort of event. But you know, having something like House of M, where it's like at the end of the day, it's just pride, and well, I guess for like what a lot of us joke about, it's the opportunity to try and beat Mason
yeah.
in this game. Because you know, you're not a Marvel champion until you beat Mason. So yeah, maybe I'll just pick up the Mason Cup.
I really liked how you and other players, you were doing like a Thor tournament where it was
Yep.
like, you know, like we'll find out who's the real Thor, who's got
Yep.
the strongest hammer. That was
Yep.
cool, man. Could you
Yep.
go in a little bit about that?
Yeah, so that's another event that Doncon and Ralston and Cataclysm what they run as well. So on top of I guess their weekly gauntlets that they do, you know, they have a thing called a Prodigy Series where they have like one of the top players, they coach one of I guess the newer players, well I guess it's that second tier. And then another thing they do is character specialists brackets. So this one here is like they reached out to me and they're like, hey, would you be keen to like we know we can't get you to play just because of connections, but would you be keen to I guess you know just lend your voice and I guess just your thoughts? And I was like, cool. Like I had major FOMO in regards to this because I'm like, man, I really want to play like even if it's like you know even if it's
Even
like
if it's just,
the good thing about Marvel
one
Infinite,
round and
yeah,
if the connection shit, yeah, just drop out, yeah.
Yeah, because Marvel Infinite it has a really good netcode. Like that's the one thing that's kind of keeping the game alive. Is that you know it has all its flaws and like in terms of production and such, but the netcode is amazing for I guess when you compare it to other games these days. But this event in particular, yeah, it was cool because you know, we had some Marvel players or Thor players in particular that don't really play the game as much. One big highlight, you know, managed to get Iron God to come back. So Iron God, Thor specialist, undoubtedly the best Thor in Marvel 3. And pretty much top Thor in Infinite as well. So he came back out of like sort of retirement, so to speak, to play in this bracket as well.
That's cool.
And he was actually the main reason why I went to Combo Breaker. Like I wanted to just get an opportunity to play against the guy that made Thor
Yeah.
the way he is. But you know schedules didn't line up. He wasn't able to make it. But you know we after the bracket had wrapped up, you know we were in Discord just chatting, just like pretty much just trading strats and just kind of just like you know just introducing each other to one another. But in terms of this bracket, yeah, it was hilarious. Like I think there was one highlight of the first lockdown. You know, it gave me that opportunity to jump in and watch this.
Yeah.
Like it was just cool. It was like one. I think for me, what really what I guess really buzzed me out was like these are guys and like players from the other side of the world, and they consider me to be like you know one
Like,
of the
on
guys for
par
this
with
like
you. Yeah, they're equal. Yeah.
yeah. And like in particular like for those characters, so like when they think of Thor, like yeah, they think of Iron God, they think of and they also think of me. And I'm like which is real flattering for me. I'm like I just play the character like I like the way he plays, but you know the fact that like there's players from the other side of the world that like they're consistent. He's a Thor player from New Zealand. Like Morrigan's there as well, but it's like Thor. So yeah, that was real cool. It was really humbling, but at the same time, the FOMO was it was so
Yeah,
strong.
man. I mean, it's great to watch, but you know, some people will just get overwhelmed by the craziness that happens. But is that how you learn this game? Do you just kind of jump in and start doing shit?
Yep. There isn't like we've tried like we've had a few new players that join like they want to pick up Infinite, and it always is that whole you know it's like what can you teach in a game where like there's so much like so many times where a lot of random shit just happens. Like you can't teach that. And I guess you can say that for every single game, but you know, one thing about Marvel is like you gotta realize that there's so much freedom in the game, and like Infinite, it still has a bit of freedom. But I guess when you compare it to like say Marvel 2, Marvel 3, like those top players can like I guess elaborate more on that. But you know, you have like you have this tag system. You know, you can hit tag at almost any time. You can make almost any move safe because you can like tag your character out. Like it really is like you gotta get chucked in the deep end. Like you can teach them the basics. Like yeah, learn this B&B. Like learn you know, find out which characters like work well together. Like find out what your storm does. But you know, no one's gonna teach you how to block this cross up that the person that did the cross up didn't even expect it to cross up anyway, but he just went with it. You know, I think I think one good thing about Marvel players, if you notice, like let's take it back to Mason. You know, Mason is the best example. Look at Nets this year. Like he won Marvel, he came top 3 Sam show. You know, he was like one game away, top 8 for Street Fighter. Came, I think it was like top 4 for like Power Rangers, almost made top 4 for Power Rangers as well. I'm pretty sure he had one more placing. But you know, one thing that like Dave always jokes about is that, you know, like the Marvel players, like since we can handle like the craziness of this game, like we can handle any other sort of
Yeah,
game.
the tempo of other
And that's
games
sort of like
is manageable.
yeah. Yeah, and you can like it really is just a scramble. Like that's the one thing that I've noticed that overwhelms new players, especially in Infinite, is that there's way too many scramble situations, and it's in those situations where like you know that you can see it in the look in their face. You can see them just freaking out, like what the fuck just
Yeah.
happened, and at the same time, like that's the addictive thing that brings a lot of us back. It really is just the pace, the freedom, to express yourself. And man, it's just like you can't tell me it's not hype getting hit by like a random random thing and you're trying to figure out like case in point when Isaac super interacted with my one. You know, it should have been there for me. But I love it, eh?
That's great. So like just in general, is Thor would Thor be a recommended character to learn MVCI? No?
Nah. At this point in the game, we'll definitely just recommend you to learn like someone like Dante. Yeah, Dante would be a good one. Gamora would be a really good one as well. So pretty much just like I would say the top 5 to 10 characters. One because they play the game really well, and like the execution is like that's one thing that a lot of I guess new players will freak out on. Like, oh, I don't know how to do these fly combos. I don't know how to like navigate like 8-way dashes and all of that. But it's kind of, you know, it's like riding a bike. You know, a few hours in the lab, a few hours of getting bodied, and like, you know, dragged on the floor, you'll be fine.
Okay. That's sweet. Like what is it? I just had something. No, something to do with Thor. Oh yeah, no. Like with Thor's strength in MVCI, is it the best it's ever been, or was he better in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3?
I would. It's a bit weird because it really is an apples and oranges situation. I definitely feel like I think he's slightly better in 3. Especially like after having like discussions with Iron God as well. Like he doesn't like. I think one thing he benefits from is definitely just the game system, the whole tag, and all of that. But yeah, it really is apples and oranges. Like there's some tools that I would like in 3 to, you know, to translate over to Infinite and then vice versa. At the same time, like you can play them a lot differently. Like I play like really defensively. I run like, I mean, yeah, I was calling Isaac out about playing defensively, like running away, but my team sort of plays that as well. His team just plays it a lot better. But you know, Thor can be like really rushed down as well. Like Raiden, he plays Thor to take the piss out of me sometimes, but it's the complete opposite. Like he's in your face the entire time, and like I guess that goes back to the whole idea of like how Marvel's like so open, and you know, the freedom's there for you to make the character that want to be. Like we've got like 4 Dante players in our scene. You got Isaac, you got Sib, you got Mason, and you got Raiden. You got like 4 players that play the same, top 1 character in the game, but at the same time they all play them so different. And that's the thing I find beautiful about Marvel, is that the game might be filtered through into like only 10 characters because you just gotta play top tier to survive. But you have that one like player that specializes in bottom tier, but the top player. And at the end of the day, it really does come down to who's holding the stick or who's holding the pad, or the hitbox for the hitbox players as well.
Is there one thing that you would change about Thor in Infinite?
I would say I would give him. Actually, I don't think I would change anything. I think he does what he does well.
Okay.
In all honesty.
Okay. That's honest.
Yeah, he can have a bit more damage, yeah. But we all could.
Yeah.
We could all have a bit more damage output, but for what he does, it really does work well.
Okay, man. Well, I'll put us in to the final round segment, bro. Sweet. So, starting off, what's the best Thor joke you've heard?
Damn. Who is Thor's favorite musician?
Who?
MC Hammer.
All right, nice. I got one. It's like, why don't people remember Thor's brother? Because he's low key. So stupid, man.
I would say I want to use that. I want to take that one. I'll take that one.
Okay, name a comfort food from your local bakery.
Local bakery, always gotta go with that custard pie from Windmill, which I was slightly disappointed about. It wasn't in the episode, but they got the mud cake.
Oh yeah, shout out to Sit Back.
I know there's some haters for the mud cake, but yeah, that's taste of childhood, and it still tastes good to this day.
Okay. All right. Would the inclusion of the X-Men characters have saved MVCI?
No.
No.
And the only reason why I say that is because if the X-Men characters look the way they did, like the rest of the characters do, the casuals still aren't gonna play it. But I think it really is. There's just some system tweaks that they need to change. Like the tag system is still flawed, and like I don't think adding characters without changing the system will save it. It'll be cool, but it wouldn't save it.
Choose a movie title that describes your life's journey.
Curious Case of Benjamin Button.
What? So you start off old and you're ending young.
I mean, it's yeah, I guess in like Crash Course and like upbringing is like I was forced to sort of like grow up fast. Didn't grow up around my siblings, grow up around like my uncles, auntie, and all of that. A lot of people like laugh when I tell them I'm only 24, turning 25 next week. They're like, oh, whoa, like you sound very mature for your age. I was like, yeah, but it's now that I'm kind of like getting like a little bit old. Like, I know I'm still quite young, but I am starting to like enjoy like being a lot more carefree these days. Yeah, so I definitely feel Benjamin Button sort of situation, starting off as an old man, and then.
Hey, I hear you, man. All right, based on your opinion, choose the 3 best ninjas: Ermac, Noob Saibot, Rain, Reptile, Scorpion, Smoke, Sub-Zero.
Reptile, definitely. Noob, and number one, Sub-Zero.
Oh, choice.
Favorite ninja.
Nice. All right. Choose each Tengaboiz that fits these card types: Ace, Jack, Queen, King.
Okay. Say Queen would definitely be.
Yeah, you're gonna Dolphin.
I think Queen would definitely be Butler.
Yeah, I thought that one too.
Yep. Jack would definitely be Tafts, because if you ask him like if he gives a shit, he'd be like Jack. I think an ace would definitely be Reef. I think Michael. I think T falls into Jack as well. Michael, yeah, Michael and Reef will both be aces actually. Tafts and T would definitely be jacks. Vala would definitely be a queen, and I'm just chilling being the
Yep.
king. I mean the CEO. I'm the one on the phone call, and Vala just gets to look good because he's the queen. Yeah.
Oh boy. Black Widow or Hawkeye?
Or I'll take or, cause fuck Black Widow, cause Bitter Part, you asshole. And Hawkeye, Michael, you asshole as well. But if we're talking about the context of who we push off the cliff, I'd say Hawkeye.
Hawkeye.
Oh no, actually, I think no, Black Widow, cause Hawkeye, at least he can shoot his arrows and he can shoot them really well. But Black Widow just looks good. She has her gauntlets and stuff, but yeah, I've got to give it to Hawkeye this time.
Game wise as well, like in terms of MVCI, Black Widow, is she still kind of over Hawkeye?
Nah, it's weird because like Black Widow, like you have to. She is probably maybe top 2 in terms of like execution to play her really well, which is why Bitter Part definitely best in OCE. It's super overwhelming, but Hawkeye a lot easier to pick up. And just the zoning is just a lot really strong. Gimlet into tag, you know that's all you have to say. And Raiden will take the dub any day.
Yeah, cool. Oh no, we got double there. Sweet. Complete the sentence. Footsies? Nah, I'd rather.
Hellstone.
Smooth, man. All right. What showdown do you want to happen at the next House of M?
Mason versus Bitter Part. I want the borders to open up, and I want Bitter Part to run the gauntlet. But at the end of the day, we have to put New Zealand's best against Australia's best.
Yeah. All right. And who is your waifu, consistent?
Oh, damn. Well, I mean, there is a certain succubus that
Yeah.
that flies around Thor. So I guess I gotta go to Morrigan, eh? Guess I gotta go to Morrigan.
Any particular reason, or just because she's your girl?
Just cause, yeah, probably because of that. But I mean, if like, I guess I was always a katana guy in Mortal Kombat. I know some people are into that Melina stuff and they're into the teeth, but yeah, you gotta. Yeah, katana was the better sister.
Hey, bro. Thanks so much, consistent. Do you have any last words or shout outs for the people?
Thanks for having me again. Yeah, I know I had to charge you extra for my rates because it's a public holiday,
Hey,
but
nah, man, willing to pay.
man,
Willing to pay up front.
it was it was good. But yeah, the shout outs, once shout outs to the boys, Tengaboiz, assholes, they drive me up the wall, a bunch of flops. But at the end of the day, like, I wouldn't like be as passionate still about the scene if it wasn't for them. Shout outs to the StandingFierce crew as well. One like just being the good guys that they are, running events, but just just offering, I guess, just that extra bit of like, I guess, being older brothers to us as well. And just shout outs to like pretty much everyone in the scene that's like that's made the effort to just get to know me. Like, I know like we all go around calling each other like our tags or whatever, but yeah, when you take the chance to like get to know me and you calling like you're like, hey, Wiz, instead, like knowing someone's name, like, you can know their gamer tag as well, but just having that connection like with people to like calling by their name as well, it really is that thing that I always remember. I always remember that. I always remember the times where you hit that mean mix up on me. I remember the salt that I felt, but at the same time, I always remember that like that's my friend. You're my friend. You're not my an acquaintance to me. You at the end of the day, you're just one of the boys, and Tengaboiz will always have your backs. Hashtag support your locals. Hashtag always on, never off. Hashtag Dingers out.